Hi, everyone. I'm Dr. Kat Bodden, the owner of Sea Change Medicine, and I have prepared a little class for you today all about managing sugar cravings. So, Thanksgiving's tomorrow, and I know a lot of you might be thinking, okay, how do I navigate all the treats and sweets without feeling terrible, either physically or emotionally? So, listen, if you've been feeling anxious about the holidays because of sugar, or you're already planning your I'll just start over in January, this year's a wash narrative, then this video is for you. Because here's the truth. You can enjoy the holidays and feel good in your body. And I want to show you exactly how to do that. So today we're going to cover why we crave sugar. It's not a character flaw or because you don't have willpower. I'll tell you some practical strategies to manage cravings. We'll talk about something I call the art of the mindful indulgence. And then, most important of all, we're going to talk about self-compassion. Okay, let's dive in. So, first off, having cravings does not mean that you're weak or that you lack willpower. Cravings are biological signals, okay? When we eat sugar, it activates the same reward pathways in your brain as addictive substances. Rats will push the lever for sugar just as fast as they push the lever for cocaine, okay? Because sugar triggers dopamine, our pleasure chemical. And the brain remembers this. It's like, ooh, yeah, that felt good. And so it wants to repeat that. That's why we call it comfort food. It's activating these comfort and reward pathways. But here's the tricky part. When we eat sugar, it causes our blood sugar to kind of go all over the place like a roller coaster. We have sugar, it spikes, and then we have a big crash, and our body's like, oh, wait, I need more sugar. I don't like this crash. So we end up trying to fix the problem that sugar created with more sugar. This is physiology, it is not your fault. Then we have the hormonal piece. So, with chronic sugar intake, we can develop something called leptin resistance. This means that leptin, our hormone that tells us, I'm full, I don't need any more food, it actually stops working. So, your brain can think that you're starving even when you have enough food in your system, constantly feel hungry. And then we can get insulin resistance. So insulin is kind of our hormone that serves as a mop to get rid of all the excess sugar in our blood vessels. And so it's the key that opens the cell that allows the sugar to leave our blood vessels, go into the cell to be used as food. And when our body starts to ignore insulin signals, our pancreas just makes more and more insulin to compensate. What this does is increases hunger and makes it nearly impossible to lose weight. Plus, having these high level of insulin will actually block leptin or satiety hormone from reaching our brain. And then, of course, we add stress on top. Stress increases cortisol, which drives sugar cravings. Again, this is all biology, it's not willpower. So, cravings don't come out of nowhere. There's usually some triggers. It can be those blood sugar crashes I mentioned, and this usually happens when we're not eating enough protein or enough fat. It can be from dehydration, and your body's actually mistaking thirst for hunger. It can come from a lack of sleep, which really messes with our hunger hormones. It can come from nutrient deficiencies, specifically magnesium. And one that's really central to my practice is gut dysbiosis. Sugar-loving bacteria and yeast like Candida can actually tell our brain to crave more sugar because they want to eat the sugar so they can stay alive, can really manipulate our behavior, which is pretty wild. Then we've got emotional triggers. These are things like stress, boredom, loneliness, using food as companionship, a habit, or like, I always have dessert after eating, or using treats as rewards. I just had a tough day. I deserve this. Then lastly, there's environmental triggers. These are things like just seeing treats out, or maybe you walk past the bakery and you smell cookies baking, or maybe it's that 3 p.m. slump where you find yourself reaching for sugar for a little energy boost to get you through the rest of the workday. And then there's social situations. Everyone else is having it, I should have it too. All of these triggers are completely normal, completely human. The first step is really just recognizing, oh, yeah, okay, that's what's happening. Got it. So here's your first tool. Before you reach for something sweet, do a quick HALT check. HALT stands for hungry, angry, lonely, tired. So before you get the sugar, ask yourself, am I hungry? And if you are, then sure, eat, but make sure you have a balanced meal with some protein, fat, and fiber, not just sugar. Am I angry or having any other kind of strong emotion? Address that first. Am I lonely? If so, call a friend, pet your dog, find a way to connect with somebody. Are you tired? If you're tired, rest. Allow yourself to rest or go for a quick walk or get some hydration in. So, sugar is not going to fix any of these things, but addressing the real need will. Then we've got my 10-minute rule. So, if a craving hits, just wait 10 minutes. If you want some sugar, I encourage you to go, just like you can set a timer on your phone if you want, and then go drink a full glass of water and do something else. Tidy up your house, go for a walk, stretch, check some email, whatever it is. Then reevaluate. Do you still want the craving? Oftentimes the craving will pass. And if it doesn't, that's good information too. Maybe you do need to eat something. Then, number three, crowd out, don't cut out. Add before you subtract. If you're craving something sweet, have some protein, some fat, some fiber first. Then have the treat if you still want it. Oftentimes, when our blood sugar is balanced, the craving drops significantly. So, an example for this is maybe you're craving ice cream at night. I love ice cream. If you're craving ice cream, you don't necessarily want to eat it. First, maybe have some herbal tea. You can add in some full fat coconut milk, some collagen, and wait 10 minutes. If you still want it, you might still be satisfied with a much smaller portion rather than sitting down and eating the whole pint. Number four, you want to make the healthy choice the easy choice. So keep healthy but delicious options available to kind of satisfy that sweet tooth. These can be things like really dark chocolate with some almond butter, berries with coconut cream. There's some low sugar cookies out there. I like the Siete Mills brand. Whatever kind of low sugar options there are that you actually enjoy. It's important that you like it, not just some like low sugar frankenfood, manipulated keto, whatever it is that doesn't actually taste good, because then you're just going to want more and more. So make sure you like it. And number five, this is what I'm all about, root cause medicine. So if your cravings are constant and they are intense, your body's trying to tell you something. So ask yourself, am I getting enough protein? How's my sleep? Where's my stress? Could this be a gut health issue? Because, like I said, if you have an overgrowth of candida or other sugar-loving organisms, they can be driving your cravings. And ask yourself, am I being too restrictive? Because if we restrict too much, we can actually create rebound cravings. So sometimes these cravings are your body's way of saying, hey, this needs attention here. If you are dealing with persistent, intense cravings, it's really worth investigating a little bit deeper. And that's one of the things we work on in my one-on-one programs and also my year-long program, The Shift, but we'll talk more about that later. Because here is the thing. Life is meant to be enjoyed. I am not asking you to skip dessert. I'm not asking you to not have anything tomorrow at Thanksgiving or, whenever you may be watching this. I'm not asking you to avoid your favorite holiday treats, okay? I'm just asking you to be intentional about it because there is a huge difference between mindless eating and a mindful indulgence. So when we're eating mindlessly, we're eating when we're distracted, maybe we're working or driving or just not paying attention. We don't even really taste our food and it's gone before we know it. We usually feel guilty afterwards and then we immediately want more because it was such a fleeting experience. On the other hand, we've got the mindful indulgence. This is when we are fully present. You savor every bite, chew it slowly. We're often satisfied with less, and there's no guilt because it was a choice. I chose to have this treat, and you can easily move on. So before you have a treat, just ask yourself, do I really want this or is it just there? Is this worth it to me? And how do I want to feel after eating? So when you choose to have a treat, make it an experience. Use your favorite plate, sit somewhere pleasant. If you want to get really into it, you can light a little candle for yourself. Actually taste it, be like, oh yes, I'm about to have this pumpkin pie tomorrow. It's my favorite. I love it. I'm so excited. I'm going to take 3 deep breaths and I'm going to prolong this experience of joy by eating this really mindfully. Okay. And bonus if you can share it with someone you love too. Because when these treats are special occasions rather than just a daily habit, they become so much more satisfying and way less problematic. So this might be the most important thing I say to you today. How you talk to yourself about food matters more than what you actually eat. I'm going to repeat that. How you talk to yourself about food matters so much more than what you're actually putting in your mouth. Because here is what happens with shame. We eat sugar, we feel guilty, our stress increases, our cortisol rises, and guess what? We want more sugar. Or maybe you think, oh, I messed up. Today's a wash. I'm just going to keep going and just go balls out and eat whatever I want. This is this restriction, guilt, binge cycle, and it's pretty brutal. Self-compassion, on the other hand, looks like this. We eat something sweet, we notice it without judgment, and then we return back to our nourishing choices. There's no drama, there's no spiral. And guess what? The research really backs this up. Self-compassion reduces binge eating, it improves long-term habits, and it increases motivation. Shame, on the other hand, does the opposite. And you are probably a very smart person and intellectually can be like, oh yeah, Kat, check, check, check. I get that. But understanding what I just said about self-compassion and putting it into practice are really two different things. So just know this is a practice. Be kind to yourself, be patient. Okay. So let's get a little bit practical. Try not to say, oh, I'm so bad, I have no self-control. I ruined everything, or I'll start over on Monday, or I'm addicted to sugar, I can't help it. Instead, I invite you to try one of these. I chose to enjoy that, and that's okay. One treat doesn't undo my progress. My next choice is a fresh start, and I'm learning what works for my body. So after eating something sweet, there's no guilt spiral. You can say, yes, I enjoyed that. It was so good. And then go back to your regular habits. One meal, one treat does not define your health. So here is your official permission slip for the holidays. You are allowed to enjoy your meals. You are allowed to have dessert. You are allowed to have seconds or even thirds. One day, couple days of celebration, it's not going to ruin your health. What will impact your health, on the other hand, is spending the holidays stressed out, feeling guilty, not present with your loved ones because you're just obsessing about food. So I invite you to enjoy your food mindfully, be present, and then just return to your regular nourishing habits. No, oh, I need to detox, or oh, I need to punish myself with exercise to make up for the pie that I ate. No starting over, okay? Just continue taking care of yourself. So I love asking people, I've been asking people a lot this recently. What if instead of feeling bogged down, puffy, inflamed, irritable, crabby, overwhelmed, what if you felt amazing this holiday season? And what if you felt amazing now and not in January? So here's a quick framework. I want you to think of treats kind of in three categories. This is what I do, and it's really helpful for me. Category one, we've got the daily sweet support. These are healthy things that kind of scratch the itch of your sweet tooth without spiking your blood sugar and triggering inflammation. These can be things like the dark chocolate I mentioned, berries with healthy fat, recipes with monk fruit, things that you actually like that are low glycemic or low in sugar in general. Category two, we've got those occasional indulgences. So this is something really exceptional, truly worth it, enjoyed mindfully. Maybe you have this like once a week or so. Maybe it's tomorrow at Thanksgiving. Maybe it's your weekly ice cream, which is like what I have. Just things that you really, really love that we want to be present with. And then category three, these are things that not worth it. So we have category one, daily sweet support. Category two, occasional yummy indulgences. Category three, things that aren't worth it. Think like mediocre store-bought cookies, those stale donuts your coworker brought into the office yesterday that are still sitting there, candy at the gas station. These would get easy to skip because guess what? You actually don't even really like them. So if someone offers you something sweet, you can quickly run through, okay, which category is this? Is it special and worth it, or is it not worth my time? And you always want to choose quality over quantity. So let's go ahead and tie this all together. The approach is this. You want to understand your cravings, your biology, your triggers, and then use the strategies I taught you. The HALT check, hungry, angry, lonely, tired, the 10-minute rule, crowding out versus cutting out, and keep healthy alternatives available. So as much as you can, we really want to practice that mindful indulgence when we choose treats and use self-compassion always, because the goal is not perfection. It is not deprivation. It is not restriction. It's really about finding peace with food, balancing our blood sugar, and having sustainable habits and enjoyment without guilt. So you're building a new relationship with sugar, and hopefully it is one based on choice, not on compulsion. Be patient with yourself and be kind. If you're thinking, okay, Kat, sure, this is really helpful, but you know what? I need more support. I get it. Managing sugar is really just one piece of this longevity puzzle, and it's something we talk a lot about in my year-long program called The Shift. So, The Shift is a comprehensive longevity course that covers nutrition, detox, sleep, stress, movement, gut health, and more. And we just did a full deep dive on sugar this week. We talked about biology, brain health, how to use a CGM, lab testing, and then I shared my entire holiday recipe bank of anti-inflammatory, delicious holiday treats and sweets, okay? But the shift is not just about information, it's also about support. You get 2 classes with me a month, a private community for daily ongoing questions and accountability, recipe banks, meal plans. And you have a full year to implement this at a sustainable pace because it's not about a quick fix. It's not about some 30-day challenge. This is about building a foundation for long-term vitality. So I've included the link in the description of this video if you are interested and want to learn more. So I hope this video was helpful for you. And remember, during the holidays, you're allowed to enjoy yourself. Be present with your loved ones, be present with your food, let go of the guilt. Because your health is really determined by what you do consistently, not by one meal or one dessert. And I just want to say, I personally am really grateful that you took the time to learn something today about improving your relationship with sugar. The fact that you're here, you're investing in understanding your body better so you can feel your absolute best during the holidays and beyond, that really matters. So thank you. That's how real change happens. Okay, hope you have a great holiday. Take care of yourselves.